these guys are over there and they have a problem with the bigger stars. The little guys are running the asylum. Mark Henry had an interview, guys, and listen to what Mark Henry said. He don't say exactly what I just told you, but this is what he had to say.
I'm not picking on him, but there's a lot of guys in AEW, that's their first TV job, right?
Right.
And they came straight from the independent scene to TV. A lot of those guys never worked with anyone over 6'4". They never worked with anyone over 300 pounds because those guys aren't walking around the indies all that much.
And the ones that are on the indies suck.
Right. Like there's a kid, I just saw a video of him from this past week. He's based out of Ohio. He's a shoot 7 foot tall. And indie guys are telling me, I don't want to work with him. What am I going to do with him? I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to work with him? What a great opportunity for you. What a great learning experience for you.
Right. But they don't know how to tell those stories.
Right.
Right.
They're not taught to. They watch. You know, like you pick up a book, and you read David and Goliath in the Bible. It should be interesting. If you pick up a book and you read Moby Dick is not a minnow.
Yep.
And see, that's a fact. The landscape and the climate of even the audience has changed now. See, back in the days when WWE was building their empire, the audience and the fans weren't rooting. Very few people were rooting for bad guys. Now we're in a society and we're in the era where the people and their reality is distorted. So we have more and more people rooting for bad guys now. So now we can get rid of the hero and the villain storylines. We can get rid of all of that because the people don't find that entertaining anymore because of based off what they have been going through and their experience. Nowadays, everybody want to be the anti-hero because the fans root for that anti-hero. That's the character everybody want to be. It was no tweener back in the days, guys. It was either you was a good guy or you was a bad guy. But ever since Stone Cold Steve Austin broke the mold, and mind you, Stone Cold wasn't even a larger-than-life superstar. Stone Cold came around at the right timing. He was one of those stars that at the right timing, he got over. And we all know if it wasn't for Triple H and the curtain call, we might have missed the boat on Stone Cold Steve Austin also.
You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta, you people watch the Marvel universe. They watch all these cartoons and anime and different things. It's so simple to put what you see on television into real action. You know, like if you saw what the Hulk did to Loki in the Avengers.
Smacked him around.
This analogy that you're talking about, Mark, reminded me of another movie, Jaws, where they're all calm on the boat. Everything's nice. They're looking for the shark. And then the first time they see him, what was the first line? We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah. And that's where you have to start to think, how can I make this happen? And the people in the crowd, they see the same thing. Oh my gosh, he's huge. What is he going to do? That's the first part of telling the story. Everything you do won't work.
And that's
So
my
now
disconnect.
you have to be creative.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Now
my
you have
disconnect
to-
with a lot of modern wrestling. You see people say the size of the talent doesn't matter anymore. That's old school logic. It doesn't matter if they're heels or faces. That's old school logic. And I'm like, look, you go to a Marvel movie, you know who the heels and faces are, and they're selling more than you are. So
and it's their skill sets that make them better and make them different, not the size.
right.
You know, and how many times have you seen Batman in a situation where you just knew Batman's finna get his rear end handed to him, but he had a contingency plan for the contingency plan? It's like, can you think for a second? You watch a movie like Mission Impossible. Oh my God, there's no way they can get out of this.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's not happening in wrestling no more.
Right. That
Right.
piece is missing.
Well, let me just go against a guy my own size, and we can do a bunch of things to each other. None of it works. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'll slip and fall and land on top of him, and I win. Like it's not a compelling story.
Mm-hmm.
If I worked the match with MJF, it would be the best match that anybody saw this year, because I would make sure that he looked like $1 million, because my goal is to make him look like $1 million. And then I'm going to ask him in return, hey, I know how to make me look this way, but we got to do this and we got to do this. And it's not your place to pick me up or push me and run me. Now you can drop kick me in the back and run me into the post. But if I'm 400 pounds, what is it going to look like you grabbing me and running me into the post?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
So the
It makes people
psychology
disconnect.
and the understanding of what to do is non-existent anymore.
So on that note, let me ask you this. When you signed with AEW, you talked a lot about, I'm here to tighten the screws. You said that line a lot, and I loved that line. I thought it was great. Was there any talk, either at the beginning or at any time during your run, of saying, hey, you know what? I could do one match and make someone look like $1 million because I have that brand capability that I can offer someone, and I can lead them through it, even though I may not be, at my prime. I'm still enough that I can walk these guys through a match and teach them some things. Were those conversations happening, Mark?
No.
Okay.
I'm an old beat up man. I'm not trying to have nobody whip my ass.
It's not, guys. And that goes back to what I said in the beginning of the live. It's like the AEW little guys got a personal vendetta against the WWE older, bigger guys, to where they're not going to give them a light of the day over there in AEW. I hope Mark Henry didn't think he was going over there to wrestle, because them guys would have ate him up. They would have been picking him up, slamming him, throwing him, tossing him all over the place, and it makes no sense. I tell you, they cater to a very, very, very low IQ audience, guys, and that's Tony Khan's big problem. He's going to need to groom a bigger, larger-than-life talent. He better go reboot that Luchasaurus kill switch plan, but he need him a big guy. Lance Archer. What happened with Lance Archer? He had Jake the Snake by his side. What happened? Now, guys, let's get to the next thing that Tony Khan needs to do.
Loved about year one of our company was like, people would say like, maybe there's too many cooks in the kitchen. We had Tony's ideas for stories. We would have the Bucks, we would have mine, and then we'd have Cody's ideas. And if I had to work with Cody on a story, the way that we'd go about it might be completely different. But I think it's because we had that variety that it brought interest to the company. I think too much of the same is only going to get the same amount of people showing up. Yep. You know what I mean?
So when you talked about wanting to tighten the screws, do you feel
tightening the screws requires you to be able to break your toolkit out?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Did they give you a screwdriver?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
So there was a point where I realized that I wasn't there to tighten the screws. I was there because of name recognition and visibility.
Right.
And that's a horrible place to feel if you're creative. And there's people that do a good job that I like their thinking and their thought processes, but even them, they don't get to do all the things that they want to do. because it's not their action figures that being played with. So you have to do what you're told. If I own a company, you best believe you better do what I ask you to do, or you won't work for me.
Mhm.
So I get it. Go and get your check and go home. Do what you're asked to do. And when you're creative and you make a suggestion, don't get the boo-boo face when you get told no.
It feels like what you're sort of tiptoeing around is there might have been a bit of a maturity issue in AEW, not just with the talent, but with the leadership.
No, that's what you said. I said,
okay. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're wrong.
Okay.
Because it's Tony's company and Tony gets to do whatever he wants to do. And the people that work for him,
is it the most effective
all
way?
the suggestions in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But if he don't want to do that, he's not going to do that.
Right.
The same thing with Triple H running WWE.
Mm-hmm.
He's the boss. But the difference is Triple H leans on the fact that he has brilliant minds around him, and he'll go, you know what? I think it would go better this way, but we're going to do it your way to see.
Right.
And there it is, guys. Tony Khan's second biggest problem. He needs to learn how to delegate the power, guys. He cannot be booking Dynamite, Rampage, ROH. You know what I mean? He can't book all of those shows and be the only person. Not even Triple H is doing that. Not even Triple H is hoarding the power. And on top of Tony Khan booking everything, he has his favorites. He have the favoritism bug going on in the backstage area there. How many of you guys ever heard of Will Washington, guys?
And when it works, hey man, good job. That was a good call. That's a good call. When it messes up, we should have did it my way, or I'm going to let somebody else get a shot next time at making the call. You're still handing the pie different directions, and you got to do things in a timely manner too. Like, I like rehearsal at noon, 1 o'clock. I don't want to be under the gun at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock to put a show together, because now people are pressing and some people don't thrive well under pressure. So like, there's a lot of things that can be fixed. Man, you look at the ratings, that's not good.
Right. And
that's a byproduct of the fact that there are some people that have already mentally checked out. They took their ball and they went home. They surrendered. Hey, whatever you want to do, I don't care. And when you get the, I don't care, I'll do whatever you tell me to do.
Not good.
It's not good. It's not you can't win. Now there's no contest. Pro wrestling is based on the fact that it's art imitating life.
Right.
We're imitating competition. We're putting on a show, but we want you to feel a competition is going on. Tell me when the last time you saw a competition. I'll tell you. The last time you saw a competition was CM Punk and MJF. And before that, it was Cody Rhodes and Dustin, brother versus brother.
Amazing.
Those were the competition, the competitive nature in the matches.
Well, they had heat.
Yeah,
they had
yes.
heat.
And you can name 2 or 3 matches that are in that vein, but they don't stand above those 2 matches.
Yeah.
Right. No.
And you have to look at the people that were in those matches.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't want to come across. I'm not whining.
Whining, Mark Henry, you telling the absolute truth. They lost their storytelling. They lost their ability to tell stories through matches and through characters when they lost Cody Rhodes. And then they lost Jay Cargill. Those are the two larger than life athletes that AEW had and lost. They lucked up with CM Punk. He was one of those like Stone Cold. The timing the timing at which they had CM Punk worked out in their favor, and still Tony Khan managed to mess that up. Listening to his indie darlings. Remember, Tony Khan chose to go with the indies. He chose to go with the wrestlers instead of the superstars, when the superstars are the ones who got him his newest show. The superstars are the ones that filled his arenas. Down to Moxley coming on over. And again, like I told y'all in the beginning, guys, this wasn't your average AEW rant. I hope that the information in this video travels to anybody who's important, and they help AEW right the ship. So 2 promotions at their peak is always going to be good. That's better for us as the wrestling viewer. You know what I mean, guys? So it's not about right or wrong or who's better. I want to see both companies do better because I just like great wrestling. Guys, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this subject in the comment section. And guys, part 2 to this video will pop up on the screen. Y'all can click into that where we go over some more things about AEW that need correcting, guys. I'll see y'all later.
This is a wreck. He's moving like an uncaged animal.
No lie, he's wild in there.